REMARKETER, empowering realtors.
Good morning, and thank you very much for joining me today. So, my plan for today is for us to go over the automation of Zapier. I'll talk to you about Zapier, what it does, for those of you who are not familiar with Zapier and what it does. I'll show you some examples of how Zapier is configured and the capabilities that it can provide to you. And then Zapier has come up with a very new innovation. And what I'm going to do is basically I'm going to use this session today to make the groundwork, make you guys familiar with how Zapier works traditionally. And then next week, we're going to come back to Zapier, and I'm going to show you that new feature with Zapier and how that can help you even take things further with Zapier. So this is going to be a two-session discussion. Today's session is more about groundworks and getting to know Zapier and understanding what Zapier does. And then next week, I'll talk to you about the innovations that we want to see that has come out of Zapier. I'll give you a little hint at the end of the session, but that's what we're going to do next week. So it's going to be pretty interesting. It's pretty interesting for myself as well, because this is brand new. It's just a couple of days that Zapier have announced these new innovations, and I think it is going to open up a lot of new opportunities and new ways that we can really benefit from these features. All right, so let's go ahead and get to know Zapier. So first of all, what is Zapier? Zapier is a tool. It's been around for many years, and it's a very, very useful tool. What it does is that it connects one platform to another platform. So basically, thousands and thousands of different platforms around the world have created integrations with Zapier. So Zapier pretty much works as a bridge between the two. So basically what it does is that it can take information from one platform, for instance, and then post it to another platform out there. It can take actions on different platforms, and it can generate content or maybe pretty much transfer content across different platforms. So you can get the idea. There are so many different tools that you could use with Zapier. For instance, you can connect Facebook to a Google Sheet, for instance. Facebook lead ads goes into a Google Sheet. So when you're running Facebook ads, for instance, and a lead ad is generated, then you can send it across to a Google Sheets. That's an example. This one is, for instance, a type form to Gmail, for instance. I don't know what a type form is, but a Google Forms content goes into Slack, for example. So if you're working with two different platforms, these are the things that can so these are some examples. TikTok to Google Sheets, for in Facebook to MailChimp. So these are all the different things. So for example, if you want to build something that, when a lead is generated on Facebook, then an email is triggered, for example. These are the kind of things that can be done. Now, one of the thousands of applications that are available on Zapier is obviously REMARKETER, and that's what we're going to be looking at. The opportunities that we have. So basically, now this is the Discover area. This is where we go to the Zaps. That's where we can basically create our Zaps and search for REMARKETER. All right. So the first thing you have to do is you have to create an account on Zapier. It's a free account. You can join Zapier free of charge, and you can create a few Zaps These are called zaps. So every connection that you make is called a zap in the Zapier world. So you can create a few zaps for free, and that's usually what you would need to. I mean, it's usually enough for the number of functions that you want to have. But if you really want to get into the world of zapping and you have many different platforms to work with, you might want to also upgrade to a higher plan with Zapier as well. But mainly for most of the objectives that we have, Zapier is it. So you can have up to 100 tasks per month. Um, Now, more than that, there are uh, upgrade packages for you to choose from if you need them. Anyway, all right. So what I'm going to show you today is to create several different zaps using Zapier. And this is the traditional way of creating zaps. What we're going to do is that we're going to connect Remarketer to different platforms. And with that, we'll be able to create integrations between Remarketer and other platforms that we use. So I'm going to give you a couple of demonstrations, but there are many different variations that you can create using Remarketer and other platforms. Once you get a hold of how Zapier works and what the logic behind creating zaps is, then it's much easier for you to understand the more advanced features of Zapier, and that's my intention to follow up to follow with for our next week's conversation, hopefully. All right, so let's go ahead and create a zap. So I've deleted all the previous apps that I've created so we can kind of start from scratch. So I'm going to start from scratch by creating a zap. So click on create zap. Once you want to create a zap, there's a copilot here which you can kind of instruct it, but I'm just going to disregard that and go straight to um, the manual creation of a zap. It's a very straightforward concept. There's a trigger and then there's an action. All right. So basically, a trigger is what triggers this zap. So what happens? So if something happens, that's the trigger. Then what to do? That's the action. So for example, if a Facebook lead ad is generated, uh, insert that lead's information into Remarketer. If a new Remarketer contact is created, uh, send an email notification to me, for example. So if then. So what's the trigger? What's the action? So this is how a zap will work. And you can create steps as well. So you can create multiple steps, but usually it's pretty straightforward. We take content from one platform and we place it in another platform. You can compile these as well with adding different steps to it as well, but I'm not going to get into that discussion. What we do is that we're going to create a trigger and then action. So what I want to do for our first example here is that I want to see whenever I have a contact added to my Google Contacts, I want that to also be added to my um, Remarketer Contact Manager. So that's the zap that I want to make. If a contact is created in my Google Contacts, so that's perhaps what I'm using on my phone, for instance, to sync all my contacts onto Google Contacts. So I meet somebody, I take their phone number, and I just quickly add that to my phone, and that syncs with Google Contacts. Now, I want anything that goes into my Google Contacts to also be sent out to my Contact Manager. So that's what we want to do here. So the trigger would be if a new contact is generated in Google Contacts. So that's what we're going to do. So let's click here. And search for the app that I want to use for the trigger. That would be Google Contacts. So I'm searching for Google Contacts. It finds it. So that's it. So the trigger is look into Google Contacts and then do what? What's the trigger event? So every app has several different trigger events. So you can use the new contact trigger event, a new group trigger event, or a new or updated contact. Okay, so whether a new contact is created or you want to also trigger this task over here when a contact is also updated. So whichever one it is, you can go ahead and select it. So let's go ahead and select new contact over. So yeah, I want the trigger to be whenever a new contact is created in my Google Contacts. Next, I need to connect my account. What account is that? The Google account that I'm using to connect to my Google Contacts. So what I'll do is that I'm going to select. I have some previously connected accounts here, but if you select a new contact, a new connection, a pop-up is going to open up that you're not going to see right now. And it's just going to ask you to select your Google account and log in, and that's it pretty much, and authorize it, and that's it. So I'm just going to use the one that I'm using right here. So this is the account that I had created. All right. So that's pretty much it. I'm saying when a new contact is created in my Google Contacts, and that's my credentials, right? So that's my the account, the Google account that I want to use. Then I click continue. All right. Now, the next step is to testing the trigger, right? So what it will do is basically it will test the trigger to confirm your trigger is set up correctly. We'll find a recent contact in your account. So I'm going to click on test trigger. So it found two contacts here that were recently created. We have a contact A, and that's the information that was pulled from that contact. We have an update time, we have a contact ID, we have an ID and timestamp, we have a name, a first name, a last name, we have some notes, we have a photo, so that's the URL to the photo. We have some emails, an email, an identified email, and we have a phone number right here. Okay, so we have that information pulled from contact A. We also have a second contact that was pulled. So again, the same information. We have a first name, last name, we have notes, we have an email, no phone number for this one, but you can see that it basically classifies the data that's been pulled from my Google Contacts. So I have two test um, contacts right here. Okay, so I can select one of the contacts. I'll select this one that also has a phone number, so it has more information available. So I will select this one, and then I will click on continue with selected record. So we're going to finalize our test with the selected record. Okay, next step is the action. So we configured the trigger. Now we need to configure the action. So the action is I want to take that contact and insert it in REMARKETER. So I search for REMARKETER, and there it is. You have REMARKETER here as well, and you're now going to be able to configure the action section here. All right, so we had the trigger, now we have the action. So the app is REMARKETER. Now, again, REMARKETER also has several different action events. So we have two action events here: create a calendar event, create contact. So now we have to choose the create contact action event. So I want to take that information from there, the information that was pulled, and I want to create a contact in REMARKETER. Next, I have to connect my REMARKETER account here. So again, I will select this and connect it. However, let me show you how you need to connect your Remarketer account. So I'm going to click on create new account. There is a pop-up. Let me share the pop-up with you. Here's the pop-up. So basically what it's saying is that allows Zapier to access your Remarketer account. So what we need to access the Remarketer account is an API key. It says here API key could be found in your account settings as Remarketer ID. So you will be able to find your Remarketer ID in your um, uh, account settings, under your account settings. I'll show you where to go. Now, if you need to log in, you can just click here and log into Remarketer. You go there, copy that API key, and then paste it right here, and then you would be connected to Remarketer. Let's go ahead and show you where to get that API key. All right. So if you log into your account here, you're going to be able to go to your account settings. Right here, you will find the Remarketer ID, and that is your API key. You can just copy that, paste it into that pop-up that I mentioned, and then hit save. And then you will have a connected account. So now I have my account connected here. I think it's this one. Perfect. So now we're connected. Next step, continue. All right. Now, here is what we have. These are all the contact fields available in Remarketer. So these are all the fields that we have available for a contact in Remarketer. Okay. What I need to do is now to map the information that I was able to pull in Google Contacts to the fields in Remarketer. All right, so the first thing that we have is email. What I'll do is that I will click on the plus button here. And now I have the information that was pulled from Google Contact. So if I scroll down, you can see that we have the information that we saw in the previous step. For instance, the notes, the photo URL, we have names, etc. So we also have emails here, all sorts of different emails. What I'm going to do in order to make it easier, I'll just search for email, and there it is. So you see, look for the one that has the information in it, right? So information, when it was pulled from my contact, was available in this field. So this is the field that I'm going to be using. So there it is. I'll select this one. What that means is that your email in Remarketer is going to be the content of this field in your Google Contacts. Next, name. This one is first name. So I'm going to search for name, and there it is. The first name is this one. You look for the one that has the content, Marsha in this case. So I'll select Marsha here. And the last name would be, select this one, name last, Mellow, right? So I'm going to add the first name to this field, last name to this field. Then we have phone, and we did have phone with this contact here. So I'm going to search for phone, and let's see, there it is. The phone numbers mobile is the one that we had the content available. So look for the one. There are all sorts of different fields here. These were the ones that were filled. This one is the one that had the data. So I'm going to select this one. We didn't have anything for home phone. We didn't have anything for work phone. We didn't have anything for date of birth, city, etc., etc. So if you do have that content available in the poll that we made in the previous trial, then you're going to be able to connect these as well. If any of them aren't available or you just don't care about it, just skip over it. You don't have to worry about it at all. So the other things that we need to do here is to also add the notes. We did have some notes there, so I'm going to add the notes. There it is. This is my notes right here, and I'll add that as well. So there we go. I have this information mapped into my um, remarketer data fields. So I'm going to click continue now, and there it is. We have these fields that will be filled, and then we have these fields that will be left um, empty. Now, you can also see that none of these are mandatory fields. All of them are optional fields, so you don't have to worry about it. There's not going to be an error. If there was a mandatory field, so for instance, I don't know if the email was mandatory, then it would mention that you're leaving a mandatory field empty, which shouldn't be the case, right? But in our case, this is all good. What I can do right now is go ahead and click test. So it is going to test that actual conversion. So there it is. The test ran and it was successful. A contact was sent to Remarketer in about 0 seconds. So basically, it was sent right now. And what I got back was a contact ID. So basically, that was our success confirmation telling me that a contact has been created. Let's go ahead and check it out. So I will go to Remarketer and I will refresh here. There it is. I have the contact created and I can view the profile. So we have the first name, the last name, the email, the cell number, as well as the notes. All have been configured properly. So everything is done properly here. Now, let's go ahead and check something else. I want to go back to configure. Now, there's also a tag here. All right. Now, we don't have any content available that's being pulled from the Google Contacts. But I'd like to tag, add a manual tag right here. Okay. So I'm going to tag it as Google. All right. So I know that this has come from let's say Google Contacts. Let's call it Google Contacts. So that's going to be my tag. So you don't have to have everything coming from the other platform. You can have some things manually configured here as well. So let's go back to setup. Create, continue. We have that information in there. Google Contacts, continue. And we're going to retest the step. That's because we already added in there. But anyways, the tag is going to be Google Contacts. Let me just delete this and see if I can get this in. Response to be JSON form uncoded or parse. Okay, maybe I'm wrong and I'm not able to do this, but we're going to give it one more shot here. Let's delete that. Oh, sorry. It was created right here, and it is tagged. The error was because it was a duplicate contact here, but it was created anyway. And you can see that it's tagged as Google Contacts right there. Okay, so I was able to add that as a Google Contact tag as well. All right, now Once we have this available, let me go back and clear this. Let's just go back. Um, Retest the first one so that, okay, I probably need to delete them. Boom, boom. Hopefully this will go through. Good. Okay. All right. Now we're done. And the final step to do is to publish. So basically, I can go live with this agent right here. So what happens is this. Let me not publish right now. So right now it's still draft. You can see that right here. It's still draft. So it's successfully tested. And you can see that it's configured to run every 15 minutes. Okay, so this Zap will check for new data at this interval. So it will check Google Contacts every 15 minutes for a new contact. Once it sees a new contact, it's going to add it into Remarketer. So you need to understand that this is done in intervals. It is not like an immediate thing. So if you want to test it in real life, once you add a contact to your Google Contacts, within 15 minutes, it should appear in your Google Contacts as well. So, sorry, in your Remarketer contacts as well. So all we need to do is to click publish, and it'll be live. So there it is. Zap is published, and it's live now. So every time that I have a new contact, it is going to be added to my Zap. So here it is, entitled Zap. It is on and published just now. So we can also edit this to give it a name. Forgot to do that. So let's go ahead and rename it. I'm going to call it Google Contacts. All right. Publish. All right, let's go back to Zaps. That's our Zap right here, Google Contacts. It's on and it's working. So basically now every 15 minutes, it's going to check for a new contact. And if I have a new contact in here, it is going to add it to my contact manager. And that's pretty much it. Now, going forward, you might have several different Zaps here. And if you want to stop one of the Zaps, you can just easily go ahead and switch it off right here. So right now, the status here, the Zap is off. It's not going to work. And you can just have it here. And whenever you need it, you can just switch it back on. So don't worry about it. You can easily create multiple Zaps and switch them on and off whenever you need them. If you don't need it and you want to just basically delete it, you can just delete it here as well. So you can create projects, all of that in there too. All right, so this was one way that we were able to do this. Now, let's give you another example. I'm going to create a new Zap now. All right. So this time the trigger is going to be in Remarketer. I want to, let's search for Remarketer. Let's see what trigger events we have. We have a new contact. So whenever a new contact is created in Remarketer, a new event whenever a new event is created in Remarketer, or a new listing whenever a new listing is added to your listing manager in Remarketer. So what we will do is that we would like to add a, let's say, so for example, I can create a new contact. So whenever a contact is created in Remarketer, and then I can add that to my Google Contacts, for instance, right? So I can do that. Or let's say this time, what I want to do is I want to send myself an email with the information of that contact whenever that contact is created. Okay, so a new contact is added here. Select the account. Once you connect the account, that account is connected. You don't have to connect it every time, so don't worry about it. So we're going to go next. Uh, Now it's going to ask for API again, but the account is connected. You don't need to add the API there. It's already connected. All right, so let's go ahead and test the trigger. So we have contacts available here. So this is one of the contacts. Let's just take this contact and go. So I'm just going to take that contact, continue with the selected record. Okay. Now, the next one is my email is with Gmail. So I'm going to use this email. All right. So this account connection expired. Let's go ahead and reconnect it. Again, the pop-up that I mentioned is opened up, and I'm going to um, connect it. Just click allow, and there it is. It's connected now. All right. So what is the action here? I want to send an email. Okay. So whenever a new contact is created, I want to send an email. Continue. And obviously, you do get emails whenever a new contact is created by Remarketer itself. So this is really redundant, but I just want to show you, and maybe this would work in other scenarios for you. So for instance, maybe you want somebody else to be informed. You have an assistant and you want to send an email to that person to follow up on that lead, for example, on that contact, for instance, right? So you might be busy out there in the field working, and then you have someone who can call that person immediately. So if you're generating a lead, as soon as that lead is generated, somebody can take action. So who are you going to send this email to? I'm just going to my assistant's email address. If you want to copy or BCC, you can do that as well. So that's that. The from, you can select. So that's my from name, reply to, etc., etc., etc. Don't worry about any of these. Okay, so you can see this one is mandatory. So follow up required new lead. Okay. Now the body, you can put in a body. It could be a plain text, or it could be an HTML. We don't care about HTML. This is the body. All right. So we're going to say the following lead has just been added to Remarketer. Please call immediately. Right? Something like that. Okay, now, what is the following lead? Now I can add content from the lead. All right, so I want to say name, boom, boom, just like that. First name, last name. And then I'm going to say email. There's the email, so it'll insert the email in front of it. And I'm going to say phone. There. Okay, so now I have this email available. It's going to say the following lead is just added, and the information will dynamically be available here. First name, last name, email, phone. Okay, continue. And now I'm going to test the step. So see, the body is going to be like that. The following lead has just been added to Remarketer. Please call immediately. Name, Marshmallow, email, that, and then phone this, right? Test step. Done. An email was generated and it was sent. All right. Now I can check my email here. see. There it is. Um, you can see my email right there. So I did receive that email. Let me show that to you. There it is. The follow-up email was sent. So that will happen every time a new email, a new contact has been created. So within 15 minutes, a new contact would, well, the email notification would be sent out. So there you have it. We have two separate emails, well, basically two separate Zaps created. I can name this. This is going to be um, um, follow, let's say, lead follow up um, email. I'm going to publish it. And that's it. So I have automated I have created two automations here. One, that was our previous one, and then the Google's, oh, I didn't save it, sorry. I didn't save the title anyway. So this is our new one, and then that one's the one that we created for Google Contacts. So anything that's in Google Contacts is going to be sent to Remarketer, and then every time there's a new contact in Remarketer, an email is going to be sent out to my assistant, for example, right? So this way I can create a loop. Now this Google Contacts could be Facebook ads. Every time a contact is created in Facebook ads, it's going to be sent to Google, to contact manager in your Remarketer, and then an email is going to be sent out to your assistant to follow up, for instance. So that way you can create the loop and automate this task here. So you don't have to go into your Remarketer and send out an email for follow-up to your assistant. This way, everything is automated. So you can do the same thing with Remarketer. We have automations for listings. When a listing is created, add it to my listing manager, post it to Facebook, for example. We have it available for contacts. I gave you two examples right here. And we also have it available for tasks and calendar events. So whenever a task is created in Remarketer, add it to my Google Calendar, for instance. Whenever a calendar item is added to my Google Calendar, add it to my Remarketer calendar as well, so I can get a notification among other tasks, for example. So these are all the different things that you could do with Remarketer. All right. Now, I am going to stop here. However, I'm going to give you a sneak peek of what I'll be talking about next week, and that is the agents. So this is a new thing by Zapier, and I think it is going to be quite impressive. So basically, what it does is that it integrates generative AI with Zapier. So instead of just taking an action and then, a trigger and action, we can still have the trigger and action function available. However, we can instruct the AI to do some extraordinary stuff with it as well. So we can take the information, we can use that information in an AI prompt, and then build a new outcome, which will then be sent out to the what is it, for the action that we want to take. So this is what we'll be talking about next week. Now that you know what Zapier is and how it works, it'll be a lot easier for you to understand this. It's a lot more advanced and obviously a lot more capable. But I really wanted you to know exactly how Zapier works. So I suggest that you do some tests with Zapier in this week. Try to come up with different scenarios and solutions that could help you. Email notifications, text message notifications, all of these are things that can be done with Zapier. So try Zapier. It's free, and get to know it, play around with it, and then next week I'll tell you all about the agents and how we can work with the Zapier agents. All right, let me check to see if we have any questions. We don't have any questions, so I hope this was informative. I believe it's quite straightforward and easy to use, so it's a good tool to have in your arsenal of tools, and it definitely is beneficial. Nevertheless, if you have any questions, please reach out to us, and we'd be more than happy to answer and help. Other than that, I'll leave it here, and I'll see you again next week. And we will send out a notification next week, most probably. Again, I will have some engagements on the coming Tuesday. Therefore, we might have to reschedule this upcoming session as well for next Wednesday instead. However, we are going to let you know in advance for the exact date. But other than that, I'll see you next week with the topic that we just discussed. Have a good day, and enjoy.